welcome back. In the last 4 lessons, we learned how to counteract the effects of recoil and bloom on our aim. And while these skills are essential in minimizing any disruptions to our accuracy, we still need to be able to place our targets in our crosshairs. There's more than one way to do this, but let's get started with the first and most prominent method: tracking. Apex Legends is known for its dynamic movement system, and because of this, your enemies will almost always be in some form of motion. The goal of tracking is to steadily trace this motion while firing. This method is the most stable and consistent approach when it comes to aiming, and for that reason, should be a fundamental part of your gameplay. Let's hop into the firing range for more details. Alright, so here we are in the firing range. Now, you might be wondering what exactly is tracking. All tracking is when you're following a target that's moving, is that you're maintaining your crosshairs on that target consistently. You're not deviating away and snapping back, you are just keeping your crosshairs right on that target constantly. Now, the benefit of this is that you're much less likely to miss any shots that you take because your crosshairs are already on your target. And with that being said, we're going to get into our first tracking drill. So I want you to pull out your gun, stand in front of one of these stationary dummies here, and I want you to strafe right to left, left to right, and I want you to maintain the center of your screen on the stationary dummy. Now, this might seem like it's not developing anything, but it's getting your eye and your hand used to communicating with each other to track a target. And the reason I say focus the center of your screen on the dummy and not your crosshairs is because it makes it a lot simpler and more natural to keep an enemy in your sights, as opposed to focusing on the little lines and dots of your crosshairs and keeping them on your enemy. All you're doing is telling your eye and your hand to keep the enemy right in the center of your view as you move around. Okay. Once you've got some practice doing that and it's starting to feel natural, we want to incorporate some firing. So continue the strafing and the maintaining of the aim, and then we start mixing in little bursts. Now, this drill is a great way to warm up before any Apex session. It'll keep your hands and brain in communication, and it'll also have you think less about acquiring your target and just do it. Okay, and once you've got the hang of that and you're feeling pretty comfortable with it, we're going to move on to the next drill. And to do that, we're going to have to get these dummies moving. So go to your menu, customize range, look for the second section here where it says dummy settings, and we're going to go to movement and change it from stay in place to strafe random. We're going to take the stance from stand to random stance, and we're going to have the movement speed on random speed. Now, what this does is it creates some randomization of the dummy movement. They could be strafing while ADSing, they could be strafing while hip firing, they could be crouching, or they could be standing. So it's going to kind of simulate what it would be like to track a player. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to pull out a weapon, and we're going to track these dummies while not shooting. Just getting used to keeping the dummies in the center of our screens as they're moving around. And it's actually a bit harder than you think. So this does really help with warming up those hands before you jump into a ranked game. Just consistently keep the center of your screen on the dummy. Change targets. You can go from hip fire to ADS. Try not to think about aiming too much. Try to just let the dummy be in the center of your screen. Okay, once you've got the hang of that, we're going to once again incorporate the firing. I'm already tracing the target's movement by keeping them in the center of my screen. This eliminates me having to look for my crosshairs and then place them on an enemy. My enemy is just already there. Okay, I hope that was helpful. This is something you can do for about 15 to 30 minutes before you start hopping into ranked. The more you do it, the better you'll become at it, and I promise you, if you incorporate this into your daily drills, you will become a better Apex Legends player. you found this video helpful, give a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this, and see you in the next lesson.